Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Welcome, Black. Welcome, Black. Welcome, Black. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're looking forward to another productive week, another week of growth. Welcome to B1AG. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics, all for the Black family and the Black community. How you doing? Hope you're feeling well. It's John Hennry Harris. We have Farmer Brown EMC. And today's topic, we're going to look at restaurants. You know, the restaurants have become a vital part of our food system. You know, we're all tired of working and have so many distractions and the hustle or bustle of just trying to live, to where the restaurants, fast food restaurants, or just restaurants in general, are where a lot of us turn a majority of the time to receive our meals. But the labor shortages, supply chain shortages, food shortages have greatly impacted the restaurant industry. And that's what we're going to talk about today is I Quit. Are the labor shortages in restaurants an opportunity for local farmers? Now, again, you know, through the pandemic, supply chain shortages, food shortages, you know, a lot of fast food restaurants, they just don't have the natural ingredients that they need to sell the food. Now, you put the labor shortage on top of that, and it's creating a very big problem. And we're going to dive deep into this subject today. Farmer Brown, what do you got to say about all these people quitting?
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well, staying vigilant, staying alert. We have some serious issues to discuss, family. Right now, we had touched on it briefly with Dr. Boyce about the pingdemic going on in the UK. We know right now we're operating in a global system. You know, there's a lot of global protocols, whether you're talking about when it comes to COVID lockdown or even food supply chains. And so we know what happens over in the East is inevitably going to make its way over to the West. Right now, there are more than 1 million. Well, there were more than 1 million restaurants in North America, more than 1 million. Just since the pandemic, more than 17% have been closed permanently, more than 17%. This equates to about 117,000. This was in the first lockdown phase, meaning just over 2020, the beginning of 2021. And so I bring the pandemic up to say, okay, there are murmurings of other lockdowns coming possibly in the fall. And so here at B1AG, we like to be solution-based. We don't like the Chicken Little theory. We tend to believe that within the B1 family, we have everything we need to get through whatever we're going through. But I think nothing's just going to fall out of the sky and magically appear on our dinner tables. I do think that there are conversations we can have. I think considering we're in a situation where there's suddenly a pandemic from out of nowhere. I think this also opens the mind to other non-conventional solutions that we may not have thought about. And so once again, is this opportunity for small farms? Is this opportunity for some of our melanated farmers to diversify their operations?
Now, I'm not sure if our audience is aware, but there have been like a record number of people quitting their jobs over the last 2 months. And it's been very apparent in a lot of restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, where there have been entire shifts of workers quitting mid-shift. I would like to show you a video speaking to this because it's pretty interesting. It's very interesting exactly what's going on and how extensive this problem is becoming in our country. So give me just a moment as I pull up a video for you. Like they're literally, this story comes about Burger King, where this, it actually went viral.
Saying, "We all quit. Sorry for the inconvenience." 8 employees had reportedly put in their notice after staff shortages caused them to work extra long shifts. They said they did it for some harmless fun, but it went viral. It's not just Burger King, by the way, that's having issues with finding staff. Some McDonald's owners are adding some really great perks to get people to apply, including emergency childcare, paid time off, helping to cover tuition costs and higher wages. What do you guys all think of this? Now, I saw this photo go literally all over my feed, Erica, this morning. Everybody's talking about it. It's relevant.
Oh, it's super relevant, but that's what happens when there is a shift. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's not often that an essential worker or someone who is making minimum wage gets the power. Collectively, they have the power. And ultimately, what the incentives are providing are standard living wages. So I keep saying, if you can afford to, if you can do this, hold out, because this might be the catalyst to getting actual livable wages.
Yeah, I'm for it too. I think it's just a little bit late, right? I think they should have started this a long time ago, incentivize people to come into work there. You know, when you start young and you get a work ethic, that translates into the rest of your life. However, I do think a lot of the unemployment checks going out are keeping people from going back to work, whether it be in this industry, whether it be Uber drivers, whatever it is. If you're getting paid for doing nothing, you're going to do nothing and get paid. So I think we got to figure that out too.
Yeah, I mean, this is, as Eric was talking, I was pulling up a text that I got from my buddy Joey when he was in Vegas, and he sent this July 5th. He says, the rumors that Vegas is open is greatly exaggerated. And I said, well, why do you say that? And he says, there's barely enough staff, barely anything's running. You can see it on the employees' faces. I've been in the service industry a long time. The resorts are struggling just to do the bare minimum. I've stayed at hotels. I haven't seen a maid in my last 3 trips. You're drinking out of paper cups. I mean, this is really affecting the service industry. But like you said, Erica, when you give signing bonuses, like a lot of my friends got out of college, going to corporate jobs, people show up. So when you start incentivizing childcare and things to incentivize people to stop getting the checks and get off the couch, they'll come.
It's long overdue.
That's right. We call them essential workers. They want to be paid like it.
Yep.
I don't know if the family knows last week, so Uber and Lyft went on a day-long strike. Similar situation, wanting higher wages, better treatment at the job. And I'm all for that. I don't believe in the concept of slave labor. We're aware that some of these large corporations do exploit workers. We have a lot of people that's been locked down or out of employment for a year, months at a time, have families that they're responsible for. So absolutely on the front end, people need to get paid more for their services. But I don't know if the family remembers a few weeks back, we were talking about how a McDonald's, for example, I thought that was interesting that was one of the places where the workers quit. They're employing robots. We have this continuous discussion about perfect storm right now when we talk about food supply chains. And so there are literally thousands of barges on different ports around the world who are they're not getting unloaded. They don't have people unloading them. And so literally some of the food, some of the supplies that some of these stores, restaurants are supposed to be receiving are sitting on barges, somewhere on a port. Match that with, okay, hey, the workers are starting to wake up like, no, I'm not about to let you exploit me for my time and effort anymore. A lot of restaurant workers are going to work, and because you don't have enough manpower or labor inside, your work is now 3-4 times harder. That much more intensive trying to be able to just do a basic job. And so, yes, there's absolutely real reasons why these workers have every right to be, vigilant and take a stand. But then on the flip side, when we talk about food security, we realize that specifically the melanated community, unfortunately, a lot of us are dependent on restaurants and fast food for, what it is that we're eating. Unfortunately, we've become a culture where many of us don't cook food at home. Maybe it's because we just have to work. We got to get to the bag. We don't have time to work. There have been cultural shifts. Okay, hey, I got money. I can afford to go to a restaurant, and so I don't need to be at home. Whatever the reason is, we have to look at the bigger picture of how dependent our food supply chain is on all of these small dynamics that we're watching in real time unraveling. I mentioned earlier about the pingdemic going on in the UK. So a piece of that's affecting their grocery stores as well. And the simple stupid of the pingdemic, I think you have a video to explain it. We're in a world of Delta, Gamma, Lambda, whatever. We're in a world of different variants of this concept of the COV. And so, there are many governmental bodies that are saying, yeah, we need to lock y'all down again because, people aren't. And so we need to lock y'all down again. Our thing is, what if this happens? Do we want to make ourselves subject to whatever direction this dynamic goes to? And after we watch this video, we'll go over a few solutions.
They're always on standby. We have a standing part of the army that is always there should it need to be called on. We always have that option to call on the contingency that the MOD always have in place for situations, but we don't need that at the moment. There wasn't a problem in that we had some stress starting to come on the system, but we were working closely with industry, and it was really during the course of yesterday, having had further discussions with them, seeing that absence rates had increased to a level that was starting to concern us, and that it was likely now to continue to increase a bit further. It was that decided the situation, and we acted swiftly. We're never going to take risks with our food supply, and that's why we've acted in the way we have. We've been working closely with the food industry, both the manufacturers and the retailers over the last week or so, monitoring the situation closely, looking at indices such as late deliveries to individual stores and absence levels. And the industry had some concerns at the end of last week, but we've been keeping it under close review. What's clear is that early this week, those absence levels got to about 15, in some cases 20%. And that's why we decided to act swiftly to make sure that the food supply chain can continue to function normally. Under the scheme that we've put forward now for the food sector, we've identified close to 500 key sites. That includes around 170 supermarket depots, and then another couple of hundred key manufacturers like our bread manufacturers, dairy companies, and so on. And all of the people working in those key strategic sites, distribution depots, and those manufacturing facilities will be able to use this scheme. And it's probably well over 10,000 people. The nuclear power industry, the rail network, the water industry, where you have a small number of highly skilled professionals that you need to ensure can come to work. We're having an exemption for them as well, where but it's quite a narrow exemption. For the food sector, it's very different. This is quite a big exemption.
I know one thing that I've read doing research for this story, like when it comes to our restaurants, you got to think a lot of these restaurants were shut down, like they were closed during the pandemic. So what industry started to rise? That was like the DoorDashes, Uber Eats, food delivery. So now that we're opening back up, that food delivery business is still thriving. So when you're in a restaurant, not necessarily a fast food restaurant, but a standards come in, sit down restaurant, they have to deliver out a lot of food. So when you have a combination of understaffed, large deliveries, and people's trying to come in and eat, they just aren't able to service the way they used to be able to service. And a lot of customers don't understand that when they come into the restaurant and they see empty tables, why do I have to wait to be seated? Why can't I get service? Because you only have 4 people in the entire restaurant working at a time where it requires 8, 9, or 10 people. So these people are overworked, underpaid, stressed. So, and that's just making the problem a lot worse. It's making the problem a lot worse. It's like I use this word perfect storm. It's just like all the wrong things going wrong at the wrong time, making things all bad.
You know, we have farmers being paid not to produce anything. I don't think right now with what's going on, there's any one perfect solution. But I would say a broader solution wherever you're at is localizing your food system is one thing. Brother Thaxton had brought it up perfectly. This is a prime opportunity. It may sound like we're being negative Neds, but this is the perfect opportunity for us to look for ways to employ our people, utilizing, unconventional means. I know here in Kentucky, we have a thing called Black Soil, Our Better Nature. It focuses on agritourism, specifically focused around melanated farmers. This is a model that can be applied pretty much wherever you're at. The concept is, hey, do we have networks of farmers? It's not to say that everybody with the farm is going to have people come out every day and eat at their farm. But are there networks of local chefs who've been kind of affected by these restaurants? Are there farms? Some have different types of produce. Some have meat. This is an opportunity for us to practice group economics. The same way at a restaurant, you would have servers. Okay, are we rapping with some of these people who are into the service industry that could service some of these farm-to-table dinners? We think, we're people that like to do it big, right? And so why not make it a part of our culture to where, hey, you're not eating good unless you're eating at a farm, directly at a farm. Not only that, these are educational opportunities. I keep bringing the pingdemic up because we're seeing a lot of changes happen quick. On subject, but off, I just seen a coach up in Minnesota. He quit. It was an offensive line coach in Minnesota quit because he didn't want to get vaccinated. Regardless of how the family feels about that, these are dynamics that people are dealing with. I don't see it reported as much on the news, but I imagine that's one of the reasons a lot of people aren't running back to the jobs, because there are a lot of these new prerequisites of employment. Okay, you're going to give me a check, but to get this check, I got to do this, that, however you feel on that. This is something that is affecting our food security. So back to what I'm saying, we think about farms. And so farms, pretty much, the general farm has a lot of space. Even your urban gardens, you have a lot of space to where you're not crammed into a building. And so if necessary, if you're in a situation where you have to socially distance, one of the best places to do that is outdoors. We have tents. There's tents where you can actually bring air into them or bring heat into them. Is this opportunity for local farmers? Okay, because we also see with the shipping, the international shipping, there's problems where even white farmers aren't able to export their goods like they were just last year. I tend to think there's some karmic things going on, but here at B1AG, we like to be real practical in our conversation. Since we see the writing on the wall that food production in what we call North America is not what it was, since we see that restaurants, the way we eat, is changing before our eyes. Just like you said, the Uber, Lyft, the delivery services are popping, but okay, that's going to fracture at some point. Is that sustainable? We have 390 million people in North America. Out of that 390 million, what is it, about 44 million up to 50 million melanated people? That could be more, it could be less. But saying that to say, if we see that we've already lost 17% of restaurants just in 1 year, over something unexpected. Okay, what if year 2 happens of the same lockdown dynamics? And then you have a pingdemic situation where you have a device where something's pinging you saying, hey, you've been I can tell by your app that you were around somebody that had this sickness. And so I need you to stay at home for 10 days. Not only is this going to affect the consumer, this is going to possibly affect those who would deliver to you. We saw some commercials with Domino's, so they're about to start employing robots to deliver pizzas. I say this with a smile on my face, but family, these are real changes. This is not a conspiratorial tinfoil kufi. Oh my God, the world is ending. We're in a technologically driven world. There are groups of people whose birth rates aren't, where they once were. That we have a lot of political, social, and economic things happen at once, to where regardless of what side of the spectrum we find ourselves, whether you're talking politically, spiritually, economically, these changes are happening. And so once again, these are perfect opportunities for us to revisit our place within, if nothing else, our food system. I imagine your average Uber Lyfts or your DoorDash people don't have long conversations with who they're delivering these products to. Hey, I have a vehicle, I'm transporting this product to you. I doubt they get into any ideological discussions. Absolutely. And so we know our food system is something that we all have in common. Is this a fix for everybody? Absolutely not. But is there at least a dozen melanated-owned farms around each urban area in what we call North America, Turtle Island? Absolutely. Do these farms have the space, capacity? When we think about, people wanting to invest, can we get tents? These insulated tents. Can we get freezers? Is this an opportunity to revisit, how to go about working in a commissary kitchen to prepare meals that can be shipped to these farm-to-table dinners, these farm tours? At the same time, knocking out multiple birds with one stone. Can these become quasi-educational opportunities? Can these become quasi-communal gathering opportunities? All of these are feasible. I say that with unequivocal confidence because I know here in Kentucky, where Black farmers only represent less than 1.4%, it's been achieved. Personally, at our company, Black Soil, Our Better Nature, we went from knowing one Black farm family in 2017 to now having a network of over 60. Is it saying that farm tours solved all the problems? Absolutely not. But there are many opportunities for many different entities, whether you're a producer, whether you're somebody that markets, whether you understand service, whether you're into tourism. There's a lot of opportunities by basically, going about non-conventional means of really, seed the table. We have people here that produce. We have a community full of people that need to eat. Okay, we're finding ourselves in places where, okay, if I don't have a card or some verification that I, got some medical operation or therapeutic intervention, I might not be able to go in here. And so instead of being stressed out, worried in the case that happens, why not take this opportunity to really refocus on localizing our food system? I know in mainstream what I'll call white America, farm tours and farm-to-table dinners, that's the part of culture, especially when you're talking about the agricultural community. That's normal. But I understand, the entrepreneur in me understands, man, if you could get the melanated family to buy into, okay, we have our family barbecues, cool. But we about to make Smithfield Meats, Tyson Meats. We about to make all of these other companies all this money when we have our barbecues, when we have our celebrations. Why not codify around, let's make sure at least 60% of whatever we're eating when we gather is sourced from these local farmers that surround our urban areas, the areas where we live. This provides opportunity for the farmers who are getting shut out, not getting the debt relief, not being able to enter into new markets because everybody else is in a tizzy. This provides opportunity to say, hey, we know we got a community of people to eat. We know we're going to need X amount of potatoes for the meals that we're going to have over this span of time. We know for people that eat meat, we know we're going to need X amount of beef, right? And so the goal is, how do you create consistent, real markets? You don't want anybody doing anything pro bono. This is a business. Agriculture is a business. And so the degree that we're able to see it as a business, not as a business that we're going to let all of these other people deal with, and we see the usual suspects they're just as confused as well. And so once again, I feel like this is our perfect opportunity to re-enter this agricultural space, this food system. and localizing it to where we're at. What's going on in Chicago isn't going to be the same as Jacksonville. But is there a phone call or two to where maybe there's something in Jacksonville where they're talking about seafood that somebody in Chicago, hey, you know, we got a little bit more farmland up here than you, or we grow different products up here than you. So are we working out these logistics while we still have access to the computers? We see these malware shutdowns. There's a lot of things that, you know, maybe 10 years ago we didn't fathom in our minds could happen. But are we taking advantage of each day we have now to really solidify and have these conversations? Are we creating logistical food chains to get food from the East Coast to say down south or vice versa? Are we looking at, you know, there are a lot of farmers are just trying to get rid of their land because, okay, yeah, I can't grow anything and I don't have any markets. You know, do we have the investors? I know the brother Tariq Nasheed is working on crowdfunding for a museum. I think that is a dope endeavor to take on. But are we taking that same approach to investing in farmland? Are we taking that same approach to investing in some alternative learning spaces?
At the end of the day, the need for us, not only in the melanated community, but everybody, we got to eat. We have to eat. We have to eat. We're facing impending global food shortages. Why not patronize, spend money with, get to know, become more familiar with our local farmers? They provide the food. Because I can tell you elsewhere, especially on the West Coast, they're struggling just to grow because of a lack of water and the intense droughts. So before things get any worse, or before, you know, that drought makes its way to us, we need to really ramp up our food production. And as Farmer Brown MC just said, localize, really work on strengthening our local food systems. You know, the farm to table dinner, I can tell you for sure, was that the first farm to table dinner y'all did that I cooked at?
No, I think that was like the fifth one.
I was actually paid to cook at a farm to table dinner, and it was a great, great experience. You know, just to be outside, eating a great meal, and then getting to know the farmers, what they do, and just getting a closer look at their operation. Because all in all, just the knowledge of how we get our food, you know, is very helpful. You know, when you get to know the intricate details of food production, when you get some food that may not necessarily be real, you know, some fake food, you know, because there's a lot of food fraud going on, you can point it out. You know, you can point it out very easily. Hold up, that's not what that says it is. So the farm to table dinners is definitely a way to come to food kitchens. I think that's another thing, because we have a lot of great chefs. We have a lot of great cooks, and we got a lot more hungry people that need to be fed.
I think we got some footage. I put together a little video, you know, so once again, we can talk all day. Here at B1AG, we're solution-based. So we're going to play this short video and kind of go over what are some codified strategies. Really taking a research-based approach. What works, what doesn't? What does this look like? So if you could play the video real quick.
Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. I'll let you know what to do with it, man. My nigga slick in this bitch. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember.
Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. 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 Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, ever since I can remember. And so what that was just a few images. And so we're about 30 farm tours in since 2017. The concept was, how do you get people out of the urban area, out of the cities, out to see some of these rural farmers, face to face. It's one thing telling a great story about somebody, but it's even better if you meet them face to face. Not only does this create an experience for the families, for their children, it also creates opportunity for these farmers to sell directly to these unique consumer bases. There's connections made, far after this dinner. Now you have, the same way you got the wheat man's number, have your farmer's plug. These are strategies that can be employed wherever you're at. The goal from the beginning, in the beginning, we started coming out of pocket, making sure we had money to pay the farmers, a couple hundred just to talk to the people. You want your tables, your chairs, make it look good. Where people, don't shortchange us, make things look good. Once again, this is an opportunity. You rent your tents. There's places you can rent chairs. I'm pretty sure once you get to the bigger cities, there's people that have these resources. And get the people out there. Some of these tours will actually go through traveling agencies. If you're fortunate to be around a Black-owned travel agency, these are partnerships to be made. Is it feasible to do a farm-to-table dinner every day at one of these farms? I would say not. But if we slowly massage this in, the same way robots delivering food is being massaged into our consciousness, the same way that robots working at the drive-thru is being massaged in our consciousness, we have opportunity to massage in the consciousness of our community different ways that we interact with one another. Some of these pictures were before COVID. And so obviously if I'm on a farm, we have all the space in the world to spread these tables out. If your health is an issue, or if, you're concerned about, some sort of regulation or somebody coming in to affect your operation, this does create a great diversified stream of revenue for the farmers. Believe it or not, many of the people that came to these farms from the cities, I'm talking about people, my age, 40s, 50s, and 60s, haven't been to a farm since they were young. And so just being in that atmosphere stoked the entrepreneurial spirit to then come to the city and figure out, okay, man, I just met a farmer that can grow, tons of green beans, tons of, different herbs. So within the city, I'm going to create a value-added product with this new plug I got, 50 miles out of the city, 20 miles out of the city. So saying that to say is using these unique opportunities to actually, start building these localized economies. When we're talking about youth engagement. And so I've been, over the last month, I've been in and out of classrooms doing these summer programs. And there's only so much you can do in a classroom on a smart board. It's useful, make use of technology, but there's nothing like having these children, these youth out on the actual farm. The beautiful thing to me, and it's priceless, is somebody who's never had this tainted concept of, melanated people on the farm being somehow arduous or something that other people do, and their minds are immediately amazed by seeing how a farm operates, whether you're at a livestock operation, whether you're seeing produce, whether you're seeing a black man, black woman riding a tractor. seeding, harvesting. All of these are planting seeds, literally and metaphorically speaking. You're planting seeds for ideas. Once again, this concept of massaging this into our community. We have all the reason in the world right now to do this because we see that our food system is changing. Like I said, I had, the concept of agritourism. This is a real business. This is a legitimate business. My partner and I, we started to just like, hey, because we had gone to a few white farm tours. It's like, man, if we had something like this in our community, I wonder how many people would show up. And it's a great, it's a great endeavor. Like I said, that can be done wherever you're at. Personally, I say stick with melanated farmers. If you're in a place where you can't necessarily find melanated farmers, work to build where you can find them, but work with local farmers. The concept is we need to get our people reconnected with the land. We need to get our people reconnected to looking at different ways that we're able to prepare food. Also with these models, you're able to employ chefs. We have a lot of people right now, within the community, the more urban areas that are good at preparing food. This is a great opportunity, for them to earn some extra money. Maybe you don't want to have everybody go to the same farm. This is where, once again, you're working with cooperative economics. Maybe you have a 20 farm rotation where, every week there's 3 different farms that, okay, there's a farm tour available. We do have tools like Eventbrite, Facebook, Instagram, where we're able to sell tickets. We'd always cap ours at 40. You never want so many people there. And when you're doing that, you're able to give the farmers a better analysis of how much produce do I need. Okay, I got the greens, I got the beans, but maybe I'm gonna work with farmer B over here that's gonna have the meat. Okay, maybe you just have the poultry. I'm gonna work with the farmer over here with the beef. And so by once again working, stoking that entrepreneurial mind of the melanated family, this is how we get these concise numbers, and you don't have people hoping that the government's going to help you or hoping that international purchases are going to continue purchasing from you. This is a way that we can take control of our food system within our communities. This isn't a cloud, skies falling, chicken little moment. These are real opportunities that I promise you, family, nobody's going to trip you up. I went and met with the Department of Ag. They're like, hey, we got $600 we can give you for some of these farm to table dinners. We declined at that moment, but saying that to say wherever you're at, your Department of Ag, anything that's going to get some sort of agricultural energy going, agricultural excitement, there's support. When we think about cooperative extension, if you're around a land grant, particularly at HBCU, this is a great opportunity to have your extension agents come out and talk to the people. We also do workshops, off-season workshops. So when it's cold, people don't necessarily want to be outside. You bring people together. You have extension personnel come in. You have some of the farmers come in and meet people face to face, answer questions. And so if I'm meeting with you in November and you're letting me know, hey, this is what you eat, and you just came to me and you got a cooperative buying team where y'all want X amount, then I know I'm going to allocate X amount of my space to grow this. And so this is how you're able to build markets. You're able to build food security and build new businesses.
And B1AG family, the need for us to eat is not going anywhere. The consumer demand for food is doing nothing but increasing as the population continues to increase. So to fight off these problems that we're having, whether it's problems with droughts, the weather, pandemics, plandemics, variants, or whatever, one practical solution is to get Black to the garden. Start to grow your own food. If you can take care of all of your food needs by growing all of your own food, more power to you. If anything, being able to grow some of your own food will help you supplement your diet. That's less food you have to buy if you can grow it yourself. You don't have to go to the grocery store or make a trip. You can just go right outside and literally pick what you need to eat. And that is power. And whether you realize it or not, if you can go outside your door and literally Go to a bush that is growing or a tree that is growing on your property in your vicinity and just pick it, and now you can eat. Are you gonna say that's a bad thing? Is that something that you're gonna say is a bad thing? I think it's a wonderful thing. The Creator gave us everything that we need to survive on this planet. He gave us land, air, and water. That's all we need. Land, air, and water. And from that land, air, and water, we can produce everything that we need to survive and live on this planet. And we never need to forget that survival skill. We never need to forget that ancient knowledge. And that's why we have at healthyblackfood.com, we would like you to come visit healthyblackfood.com and sign up to how to grow your own food. We have Farmer Brian and I have a great program put together showing you exactly how to grow your own food, how to empower yourself, and also how to make sure that you will be food secure for now and into the foreseeable future. Not only for yourself, but also for your young ones and loved ones. Farmer Brown, it's been a great topic. I eat out sometimes. I prefer to cook, but I do understand, the way this world is set up. It makes it hard to be able to do that when we're always on the go, hustle and bustle of life. But definitely creating these relationships with our local farmers, strengthening up our local food systems, put these chefs to work. And also when you meet these farmers and these chefs, hey man, it's an opportunity for you to learn how to cook. If you don't know how to cook, learn how to cook from a chef. They're going to show you how to do it the best. Do you have any last words to say about today's topic?
I'm a lot more optimistic than pessimistic about what's going on. I'm definitely empathetic about, the people working in the restaurant industry, the food service industry, and all of these dramatic changes. But like I say, this is a huge opportunity to change this dynamic. This is a huge opportunity for the melanated family to take a little bit more control over our food security, not only just for the eating component of it, but the entrepreneurial component as well. These are practical solutions that can be applied to wherever you're at. This doesn't mean everybody's just going to be able to supply their whole weekly diet on farm tours and farm-to-table dinners. But as we make this a culture, because we see there are active forces wanting to add all sorts of new things to our culture, food has always been something that's been a part of our culture. And here in 2021, where just anything can happen, I think just as bad, just that like all these negative things can happen, we can make a lot of positive things happen. It's literally connecting people. We're not recreating the wheel. This is what our ancestors mastered. I'm from the Deep South, and I mean, Deep South goes hand in hand with good food. And so how do we turn these into industries where, okay, we got people that aren't going to be able or aren't getting the respect they deserve going to these restaurants? Are we creating formidable local food networks where maybe you're delivering these pre-prepared meals by local chefs at commissary kitchens that the real estate people have invested in, or you got teams of houses, apartments who are, quality inspected. We don't want to do anything that's going to compromise the quality of the food. But in the situation where we run into, okay, yeah, we don't have restaurants, but hey, we thought this out in 2021 to where by 2023, we cool. Matter of fact, the same way Bezos and all of these companies made all of this money, because maybe they had foresight that there was going to be a pandemic to shut everything down. But we're not here for conspiracy. We're here with let's get ahead of the curve. We know people eat. We know we come from a group of people, a melanated family that knows how to prepare food. We understand how to ship things. We ship it. We know how to get things to where they need to be. We know how to work with the least amount. Those are the principles of sustainability. We see that the world is changing before our eyes. The international food system, as most of us have grown accustomed to, is crumbling before our eyes. This gives all of us an excuse. It doesn't mean it's shameful that I have to resort to meeting a farmer because consider that an honor. And I'll tell you, meeting a black farmer is like catching a leprechaun. If you're fortunate to know a black farmer, absorb that energy, absorb the knowledge, shop with them.
Amen to that. And we all know that we can cook. Now, a lot of us may not cook as much as we should, but you know, I know when I think of my happiest thoughts and my happiest memories that I have in my entire life is eating food prepared for my mother, my grandfather, you know, on the grill, on the barbecue grill, and my grandmother, you know, and my aunties, you know, and the family getting together and having these meals together. You know, think about the movie Soul Food. You know, food has always been a huge part of the foundation of us. And we need to keep these practices alive, especially if we want to keep the family together, because these are definitely things that will help keep the family together, whether it's your immediate family or the community. You know what I'm saying? That should be your extended family. So Farmer Brown, if you really want to know something, what should the B1AG family do, bro?
Really want to know something? Let's think outside of this opaque box and learn how to grow something.
There it is. Let us move through this week, be prosperous. Let's be abundant. Let's be loving. Give out so much love that you can barely stand it when it comes back to you. And let's plant these seeds. Let's get them in the ground and meet you at the grand harvest. Have a wonderful day. B1AG, the Daily Bread Podcast. See you soon. Peace.